Good morning, fabulous fourth graders. Miss Griffiths here again. So as you remember in the last video that you saw me in, we were talking about paraphrasing. And paraphrasing is basically summarizing information that you read in a text, like in a chapter or a section of your book, and putting it into your own words. And then before that, the first video you saw me in, we were talking about previewing, predicting, and tapping into your prior knowledge that you learned to look at your book and see what might be in it. So today we're going to talk about how to find the main idea of a text, like a book or a chapter or a section or a paragraph. So you ask me, what is the main idea? And the main idea of a story or a paragraph is the information that the author is trying to tell you about in so many words. And it is the most important information, the main idea of the text. So we can determine the main ideas by pulling out what is the most important information in that text or passage that we're reading. And we can do this by looking for a main sentence in a paragraph or section that we're talking about. Typically, like the first couple sentences is very important. We can pay attention to special topics or headings or even some subheadings that may be in our text. We can think about how all of the information as a whole fits together under that topic. We can also determine the most important information and pull that out. And we can finish up by stating the main idea in one or two sentences. So in our book Oceans that we've been reading, I'll be reading and demonstrating how to pull the main idea out of a small excerpt from page 9. And this excerpt is called Bodies of Water. So I'm going to read this real quick, and then we'll kind of talk and I'll demonstrate how to pull the main idea out of this text. And it says, 5 vast areas of water, each referred to as an ocean, make up the larger world ocean. They are the Pacific, the Atlantic, Indian, Southern, and Arctic. Smaller regions of oceans go by names such as seas, gulfs, bays, channels, and straits. As important as these divisions are to sailors and scientists alike, the labels only begin to tell the story. So if I were looking at this text, and if I were trying to find the main idea out of all of these sentences, how would I know how to do that? Well, let's look. The main sentence of the paragraph is telling me that there are 5 oceans in the entire water mass on the earth. I feel like that's pretty important. Now, what are the special topics or headings? Up here it says bodies of water. I feel like that's important because it's the heading of this entire section, and it gives us a clue to what we're going to be learning about. How does the information fit together? Well, I know up here they talk about 5 different areas of water, and they list the bigger areas of water, but then they also go in to list the smaller ones, such as gulfs, bays, channels, and straits. So I feel like that's important information as well. And then what is the most important information out of this entire section? And I believe that the most important information out of this entire section on page 9 is that there are 5 major oceans. And then it lists them: Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, and Arctic. But there's also smaller bodies, and they're kind of like sub-oceans, if you will. And those are called seas, gulfs, bays, channels, and straits, but they're equally as important as the larger bodies of water. So, do you see how I pulled out the most important information out of the text and I discovered the main idea? That there's 5 major bodies of water that are oceans that are extremely important, but there's also smaller, littler oceans that are equally as important, even though they're under a different name and they might not be as large. So what I'm going to have everyone do is take out your book that you had from yesterday, and you're going to read the section that we did our paraphrasing on. And once you read through that section, I'd like everyone to try your hardest and pull the main idea out of your section. So have fun and happy reading!